Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to part 5 of getting started with NumPy. In this section, we will discuss about how to perform various operations, especially mathematical operation on a NumPy array. So without any further delay, let's get started. So let's first talk about some of the basic arithmetic operation that you can perform on NumPy array. When you do that, it do the operation on element-wise fashion. That means it perform operations on each and every element of the array while doing the computation. As a result of this, a new array will form and which fill with a new result. To give you an example, here I have created two array A and B which has the same shape. That means both this array has four elements, and here I want to perform addition, exponential and multiplication operation, arithmetic operations. So when I run this one, you will see each of these operations happens element wise. So for example, in addition, each element of A is being added with each element of B and the new result is formed. Okay. But here one thing you have to notice, even if you do this asterisk thing, A asterisk B, it happens element wise. But what if I want to do matrix multiplication? In that case, there are many ways to do that, and if you are present in Python 3.5 or higher version, you can use this symbol as ret, and this will perform the matrix multiplication. So let's say matmul, and when I run this one, you will get this matrix multiplication result, which is the scalar value. Okay. And similarly, if you are not present in Python 3.5 or a higher version, you can use two other method, which is uh, dot method, and second one is matmul method, which we will discuss. So the first, let's talk about dot method, and this you can access it both from the instance as well as from the class. So from the instance, you can say dot, and then you pass the value, the one, the array which you want to multiply with, and when you run this one, it will produce the result, which is 260, which is the same as previous. Similarly, you can access this dot method from the class NumPy. In that case, you have to pass both these array A and B within the parentheses, and this will also perform the similar thing as previous. And finally, you can access this matmul method from the, and it is a class specific method. You cannot access it from the instance, and when you run this one, it will also perform this matrix multiplications. So now, though we have seen the difference between matrix and element wise operations, let's move forward and see some of the other operation, which is assignment operators along with the arithmetic operations. To give you the example here, let me create two array A, and let me explicitly make these two array different data type. One, and I will make this two array as same shape, which is one rows and three columns. So, and the first one is integer data type, and the second array B is float data type. In order to do that, I will say a random, and this will ensure that this array, each element of this array is a float data type. Okay. Now here I will say print b to show you this one, and then I can perform this operation, this assignment operation. So first, what I will do, I want to add a b with a, and then again I want to assign it to b. So this one. So it's very familiar arithmetic operations along with the assignment operators. Now after this one, I will say print b, and if you can see the difference when I run this one. Oops, numpy random. Now if I will just go ahead and run it, here each element of the B is being added with each element of A, which is 1. Okay. Now, each element of A is an integer data type. Now, each element of B is a float data type. When you add B with the A integer data type, now change or upcast into float data type. It's because float data type is more precise or more general. That's why integer can convert into float, but it cannot happen other way around. So in that, so to give you an example, if I want to perform this thing other way around, so I want to add b with a, and want to store it a again, it will throw me an error because integer cannot be float cannot be converted into integer. So you have to remember this thing. It's a minor detail, but you have to remember this thing. This is sometimes it's very crucial. Okay, and the final thing, not the final thing, but the other thing which we will talk about is called unary function or unary operations, in which is sum, cumulative sum, and you can perform this thing from the there are many methods available, instance specific method. You can use that method like sum or cum sum, and that will this perform this unary operations. Okay, and it will also apply element wise. To give you example, let me create a array called b, np dot a range, and here I will pass this 12 element, and then I will make the reshape into 3 rows, 4 columns, and then I will say print b. Now first let's print it. Okay, so this is what it look like. Now what if I want some column sum for each of this column? I can do that using b dot sum, and here it will take argument called axis. So if I want to do a column sum, I want to pass x is equal to 0. It will perform and produce this result, which each element of the new array is the sum of the column. Similarly, if you want to perform um, row wise sum, then you have to change the axis to 1, and it will just perform the row wise operation. In that case, 0 plus 1 plus 2 plus 3 becomes 6. Okay. Similarly, you can also perform other operations like cumulative sum, so which stands for cum sum. And if you do that, you will see the new array, the new matrix which is being created is the cumulative sum. So that means the end one, the sum 6, 22, and 38 has to be the same as the row sum. Okay, so this is called the unary operations, and you can access this method which can do this operation from the instance of the NumPy array. NumPy provides familiar mathematical functions such as sine, cos, and exp, etc. And in NumPy, these are called universal function or ufunc. Within NumPy, this function operates element-wise on an array and produce a different array out as output. To give you an example, here I have created an array which has 3 elements, and for example, if you want to raise each element of A to the power of exp, then you can perform this operation print, and you can grab this universal function from the class NumPy. So here I will say np dot exp, and then you within the parenthesis you pass the argument as a array as an argument. So if you run this one, the first one is just an array, and the second one is e to the power a or array, which perform element-wise operations. So the last concept which we're going to talk about in this section is called broadcasting, and which allows NumPy array to deal with this operation in a meaningful way in case two array doesn't have the exact same shape. So all the previous example which we have seen, when we do this mathematical operation, the two array has to be the same shape. If it is not, it should throw an error. For example, in this case, A is of shape 3 by 4, but we are adding it or doing this addition operation with a scalar value which doesn't have any shape. But when I run this one, it rather than throwing an error, it actually you can see it produces a new matrix which each element of A is now being added with a scalar value 2. Now what happened? So this concept is called broadcasting. So when I do this one, H, the shape of the A is 3 by 4, 2 is now changed into this thing. Okay, so 2 is now broadcast into 3 by 4 matrix where each element of that matrix is a value 2. And, and when I perform this operation, you will see it also do the similar thing. That means 2 now grew into this thing. And this is what called broadcasting. Hope you like this tutorial, and in case if you have any question, please feel free to ask this question in the YouTube comment section. I would more than happy to answer them with best of my ability. Or else, thanks for watching. Thanks for all your likes and subscription. Until next time. Cheers.